The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. Thank you for attending today's session. We will begin shortly. You'll submit your questions using the question box in your control panel. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Jones. I'm with the Oracle Applications Users Group. Welcome to this session of how to improve your chances on being selected to speak at Collaborate 18. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a couple of housekeeping items. First, you'll be on mute throughout the presentation. You can type questions into the question box at your control panel at any time. We are recording the session. It'll be available shortly online. I'd now like to introduce you to our presenters. Our first presenter is going to be Beth McLaughlin, the Collaborate 18 Conference Chair, Karen Brownfield, the Collaborate 18 Agenda Chair, Kaberi Nayak, the 2017 OAUG Education Committee Chair, and David Grant, the 2017 OAUG Education Committee Co-Chair. Now, I'd first like to meet our first presenter. First, we have Beth McLaughlin. Take it away, Beth.
Great. Thanks, Mike. My name is Beth McLaughlin, and I am the Conference Chair for Collaborate 18. I work in finance supporting our Hyperion EPM applications, and I am also an OAUG board member. I have been actively involved in the OAUG through various committees and have presented many times at OAUG events, including last year's Collaborate. So as Conference Chair for Collaborate 18, I am very excited for the opportunities that will be available to my fellow OAUG members and conference attendees, and I think the conference is shaping up to be a very exciting event. If you are attending this webinar, chances are you are thinking about submitting an abstract to present, and I would highly encourage you to do so. So why would you submit a paper? By presenting at the conference, you really have an opportunity to share your story with other Collaborate attendees, and this is such a rewarding experience for both you as the presenter and for those who attend your session. People are truly excited to hear about your story, whether you are sharing an innovative business solution using today's technology, or perhaps some tips and tricks that you've picked up along the way in your career. It's a great opportunity to share knowledge, whether it be on a particular application you may use in your company, or perhaps you can bring your industry knowledge to discuss current challenges and opportunities that you face in your job on a daily basis. The great thing about Collaborate is it's truly focused on being a user-driven conference. So if you present a paper at Collaborate, you also get the benefit of attending the conference. We offer hundreds of education sessions that are extremely relevant to your career today. Whether you are technical, functional, or anywhere in between, you can leave this conference with new ideas and information that you can apply in your day-to-day job. Another great benefit to Collaborate is the countless networking opportunities that you will have access to throughout the week. The conference is set up to maximize these opportunities through various channels, and this is one of the reasons why people attend Collaborate year after year. Not only will you network with other attendees, but we will also have a huge exhibitor showcase that will allow you to demo the newest products. So be sure to check out the exhibitor showcase when attending Collaborate, as it's a lot of fun and it's really an easy way to see the latest and greatest tools and resources. So finally, as an attendee, you won't want to miss the welcome reception and closing party. These are two really fun events that allow people to get together, let loose a little bit, and bring our user communities together. So with that, I hope you choose to submit a paper for Collaborate 18, and I'll turn it over to Karen Brownfield, who will talk about the paper selection process.
Thank you, Beth. My name is Karen Brownfield, and as Mike said earlier, I'm the Agenda Chair for Collaborate 18. I'm also on the National Board of OAUG, as well as I have been presenting at OAUG conferences since I think 1994. So what we're here today to talk about is how the paper selection process works. And then just after that, we're going to, Kaberi will talk to us as head of education about some hints and tips that we have found over the years that will enhance your chances of getting selected as a paper. So you notice here from the diagram that explains what happens It starts out with working with the SEC. Now, although I'm an Auburn graduate, SEC does not mean Southeastern Conference. In this case, it is a committee comprised of representatives, the agenda chairs, and the education directors from all three user groups that participate and collaborate. And what we do is, prior to the call for papers, we get together and decide what the tracks are going to be this year. And as you're submitting the papers this year, I hope you get you understand the tracks better. We've spent a lot of time rewriting the descriptions. We have a primary track, which is basically the major product. For example, EBS, Hyperion On-Premise, Cloud EPM, Cloud ERP, Cloud CX, Cloud SCM, and then there's professional development. And then if your paper is just general topics about making decisions, how do you make decisions in the IT world, i.e. whether to stay or go to cloud, we have a track for that as well. So once we did those tracks, and then within those tracks, we now have what we call Smart Track, which for EBS breaks it down into our more familiar concepts of order management, purchasing and projects, financials, ATG, which is the applications technology group, or the like the F&D products that underlie all the apps. HCM is broken down into their smart tracks. The cloud products are broken down a little bit further. This is to help you pick where your paper's idea is going to fit. And it also enables us to better find your abstract and to organize them in what makes sense for our attendees. And we believe that this organization of tracks will also enable you to enhance your ability. So please read the track descriptions and pick the appropriate, not only primary track, but that smart track is very important this year. Now, once you have submitted your papers, because the call for papers is open, when the call for papers closes, which is at 11:59, October 20th, I believe, that's 11:59 Eastern. Please pay attention to that, because it's like if you live on the West Coast, that means that ends at 9 o'clock your time, p.m. So please make sure that you submit prior to that deadline. We have people that have volunteered to vote on those papers, and even though you have submitted a paper, if you would also like to participate in the selection of the papers, we ask that you can send an email to the emails that are listed in this presentation and say, I'd like to be considered as a voter. Here's the tracks that I can vote in. You probably won't be assigned the tracks you've submitted a paper in, but we also appreciate your expertise in helping us pick the best papers. So once the papers are voted on, then we have people who are responsible for each of the tracks, and they have a committee of people that works with them, that looks at the votes, looks at the abstracts, looks at the wish list, looks at prior results from previous year conferences, and then they will build out the rooms they are assigned. Once the rooms are built out, then it will come back to Janet and myself, and we will look at it and make sure that we don't have, for example, 5 papers on payables scheduled at the same time, or a paper against doing payables payments opposite a paper on doing receiving and purchasing, because that tends to split our audience. So we'll get rid of the obvious conflicts. Then we have to meet with our sister user groups, OAUG and Quest, because we actually share some of the tracks with Quest. 4 of the cloud tracks we share with Quest. The business intelligence track we share with both Quest and OAUG. The professional development we share with the other user groups. And while, yes, it does increase your chances of being selected if, for example, you have a paper on professional development, you submit it through all 3 user groups. If your idea is a really good one and all 3 user groups accepted your paper, well, you can only present it once. So the 3 user groups have to perform their own deduping, and then at that point, we have a fairly finalized schedule. So what we will do is we'll notify the speakers. So if you are selected, you'll be notified. The schedule and the dates will come up in a later slide. You will be notified. When you're notified, The first thing you have to do is to log in to the same ID in which you submitted the paper and sign our compliance agreement. This is telling us that yes, you still are planning on presenting at Collaborate, and yes, you agree on the compliance agreement, and part of that compliance agreement is just some key things like you agree to present whenever your paper is assigned. You agree to the rules of not advertising your company. Now, if you're a user company and you're doing a user success story, have at it. We want to hear how your company uses the applications. If you're a consulting company, we want to hear about the Oracle products, not about your company. So there's some rules in that compliance agreement. Read it carefully and sign it. Based on if anybody drops out at that point, we'll rework the schedule. And then you'll have a couple of months to write your paper, create your slides. Only associate members have to write a paper. To create your slides, upload them. There'll be a deadline for that. And after those papers are uploaded and we've looked at it and agree that you have complied with all of our guidelines that's in the compliance agreement, then we will send you your registration code. Now, remember, unlike Open World, OAUG allows you to register for your hotel room. As a matter of fact, we ask you to register for your hotel room ahead of registering for the conference. So there's nothing to stop you if you're planning on going to Collaborate. As soon as we open the ability to register for the hotels is to go on and book your rooms. As a matter of fact, we encourage that. And then, of course, the last step is to deliver the papers. So if we go to the next slide, we want to talk to a little bit about a couple of our strategic programs. And one is the Exploration Series. We've been doing these for several years. It's a series of papers presented one day in the same room on a specific topic, which allows the speakers to coordinate their talks and go into great depth on one specific area. Today, this year, the topics are going to be the Hyperion EPM Analytics and then the Emerging Leaders, formerly our Young Professionals. So if you are a Hyperion EPM Analytics expert, then this is an opportunity to submit a paper on this. Or if you're one of the emerging leaders or you have some really great advice, you coach the emerging leaders and you have some great advice, what technologies they need to learn, where they need to focus, personnel skills they need to learn. This is an opportunity to increase your chances. And you'll see at the bottom it says if you're submitting on this and wish to be considered for the Exploration Series, that we also ask you to send an email to the speaker programs at OAUG.org with the paper ID. The paper ID will be given to you when you submit your paper. It will come back with a confirmation that you've submitted the paper, and that will give you your paper ID. And then a description of how you envision the session fitting into the Exploration Series. Next slide. Our other strategic program is our international program. If you work with a company or for a company that deals internationally, you're either located outside of the U.S. or you have branches located outside of the U.S., you understand what it's like to operate a business in multiple countries, multiple legal entities, multiple regulations, et cetera, et cetera. And if you have some interesting stories to tell about how you have used any of the products, cloud, you have used EBS, you've used analytics, you've used Hyperion, to meet these challenges of working in more than one country, then we would, again, ask you to submit your paper ideas and, again, send an email to the speaker programs at OAUG.org with the paper ID, which, again, is assigned as a confirmation of your submission, so that we can pay special attention to your abstract as we're looking at filling these very important tracks in our program. And with that, talking about the overall general paper selection process, I'd like to turn this over to Kabiri as she explains some hints that we have gathered over the years of how you can increase your chances of having your abstract lifted up and voted as a wow for our conference.
Thank you, Karen. Want to first, hi everyone. My name is Kabiri Naik. I've worked over 20 years as lead Oracle Apps DBA. Currently, I'm also an Oracle Task Lead. I'm an Oracle ace, basically working with Oracle Apps and Oracle PeopleSoft since 1996, and I am an OAUG user member since 1999. Have also participated and presented at many OAUG Collaborate Conference, OAUG Connection Points, IOUC Summit at Oracle, and also at Oracle Open World Conference. I'm a past OAUG Board of Director and have served on many OAUG committees like Education International, Support Council, Technology, GeoSig Committee, just to name a few, in different roles as volunteers for many years. I'm currently OAUG 2017 Education Committee Chair. I've also served as Collaborate Conference Agenda Chairs for multiple years in a row. So here I'm speaking from my and many of the panelists today from their experiences of presenting at many Oracle conferences, including Collaborate conferences. Thanks for joining us today for this information on more the informative webinars, and we hope you can take back information that will help you and definitely encourage you to submit paper presentations for Collaborate 2018 conference and beyond. Your contributions is highly appreciated. With that, I want to provide some tips and tricks for success. I mean, definitely start with a solid idea. It's no different than picking up a book at a bookstore. I mean, the catchy titles and abstracts are what you look for. So make it, do not confine yourself to a narrow title, make it a broad appeal. When needed, you can also look through the wish list. We will provide you the URL for it so that it helps you to give some topic ideas in your subject matter expertise. Seek input, guidance from peers. There are always a lot of people where you can, ask for help or provide some input to your topic ideas. Again, make sure you have a solid idea to share with everybody that is hot and catchy. Again, submit early, submit on multiple topics. You're not confined to only one idea. If you have multiple ideas, you can, share that with the
Sorry about that. Looks like we lost the audio of Kaberi. Karen, do you want to step in here?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Kaberi. Anyway, as Kaberi was talking about creating a catchy and descriptive title, one of my favorite ones back in the 90s had to do with managing the concurrent managers, and they said, or how to herd cats. And it made everybody voting on the papers laugh, and her paper was selected. So come up with a catchy title, descriptive title. Be careful about plagiarizing the titles of other books. Yeah, doing something for dummies, everybody uses that. Hitchhiker's Guide, everybody uses that. But make your idea original. And one really important thing is to fill in all 5 learning objectives. You'll fill in the title, you'll fill in the abstract, and then there's 5 objectives underneath that. Fill in all 5, and yes, make them all 5 different. What this does is this tells the voters that you have enough material to talk about to fill 45 minutes. And I can tell you from past experience that if you only put in 1 or 2 objectives, the voters are going to downgrade your paper as far as the votes because they just don't feel like you've got enough information to talk about. If you can't give 5 key points, because that basically is your agenda, 5 key points, then what actually are you speaking about? As you do your abstract, as you do your title, run it through spell checker. Make sure you proofread it. Make sure you've got the grammar correct. If writing a small abstract, there's sufficient spelling mistakes and the grammar is bad, it will also decrease your ability to get selected. If you have a good success story or a how-to story, those are the topics we're looking at. If you've done something innovative with the applications, you have found a way to manage the setups or interact with your trading partners, be it customers, suppliers, employees, whatever, and you have brought a benefit to your company through the use of the applications, these are the stories that we want to hear about. We want to hear about how to better use the applications. We've all played bet our business on picking the Oracle products, and we're responsible for returning that best investment back to our company. These are the stories that get voted on. If you're a consultant, be careful. Never ever mention your name or your company's name if you're a consultant in the abstract or in the title. I can guarantee you will not be selected. Now, if you're a user and you want to talk about, and I'm going to use Kaberi as an example, you want to talk about how MITRE has done this wonderful work, that's fine. That's a user success story. Have at it. But so if you're a consultant and you've got a great success story, highlight your customer. Give your customer top billing. But don't say, you know, my consulting company made company successful. Just say company so-and-so through the innovative use of setups or whatever you did has increased customer satisfaction, yada, 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 in the abstract. We want to hear the story. We want to hear how we can go home and use that information in our own enterprise. So, you know, if you give us information we can use, you've already sold yourself. You don't have to use the abstract to sell your consulting company. Sell the idea. The abstract should sell the idea, not a consulting company. Next slide.
Thanks, Karen. Can everybody hear me?
And you're back. Yeah, and you're back. I'm sorry, Kaberi, you just dropped off.
I don't know. It on my side it showed green. But anyway, let's move on to the next slide, which is basically gives you some information about the Collaborate URL, which is http://collaborate.oaug.org. So that gives you all the information as a speaker you need, what the presenter should be following. Basically, you share your experience with subject matter that you are expertise, and you can share that with everybody else, and it brings value to them. The next URL, which is the presenter information, basically gives you, as an accepted primary presenter, what are the things that benefits, and basically the bottom line here, this particular, PowerPoint tells you where you can get all the information that is needed as a first-time presenter or a presenter for Collaborate 2018. The best ideas always come from collaboration. So, collaborate with others, present your ideas in a collaborative form, submitting the title and the abstract. Sometimes people are not sure which category their topic should get into. And for that reason, we have the URL presentation wish list, which
Karen, can you continue? We lost Kaberi
Yep, and
again.
Kaberi cut out again. Kaberi, just interrupts me when you get back. The presentation wish list, as Kaberi said, if you're not sure the primary track or secondary or the smart track, go out and read this. They've all been rewritten. They have descriptions with examples of the specific products or specific ideas, along with a, gee, we would love to have a paper on this topic. And the voters, the people that build the tracks, will look at that wish list, look at the paper submitted, and say, oh, well, we asked for a paper on such and such. Here's an abstract on that idea. Let's do it. Kabir, are you back?
Can you hear?
No. Yeah, now I can hear. You keep cutting out.
I'm so sorry about that. I don't know exactly what's going on. On my side, it shows green everything.
All right. Yeah, anyway.
Thanks, Karen, for jumping in and giving the. I think that should do it. With that, I will hand it over to David Grant, who is the Education Committee co-chair, to give information about all the dates that are important for everybody.
Hi, this is David Grant. As Kabir mentioned, I'm the Education Committee co-chair. I've been attending Collaborate for over 10 years, and past several years have participated in the paper selection process, and the room build, and those types of things. So I'm one of the ones who's reading these abstracts, and not only do I vote, but I also review the votes and those kind of things, along with numerous other people. I just one of several. So on these dates, Karen talked earlier about the timeline, when things are due. Now you have some hard dates. You mentioned this first one at a minute before midnight on October 20th. The call for presentations closes Eastern time. So get in for them. Don't try to wait until then, because if you wait until then, you'll have some technology issues perhaps and things like that. If it doesn't get through and so forth, so on. Well, you still have some time. Just a little hint there. In the week of November 27th, that is when we will notify the presenters if the papers were selected or not. And if you are selected, we really need to respond quickly, if you could, with the acceptance that, your confirmation that you're still going to do it. That's that agreement that Karen was talking about earlier, the compliance agreement. You need to read through that again and submit that and say, yep, I still plan to present, and I'm on track to do so. If circumstances change since the time you submitted the abstract, if they change jobs or you have another assignment, you're not going to be able to attend, or whatever reason, we really need to know that too, because we need to move on with finding someone else. As you can imagine, there are many hundreds actually to place and review. So it's critical we know quickly. And then at a minute before midnight on February 28th Eastern time, you're going to be needing to submit your presentation materials. That's your slide. If you are a user member like myself, you do not have to submit a white paper, just the slide presentations. If you are an associate member, we do ask that you do the white paper accordingly. I'm assuming if you're on this call, you may have attended Collaborate in the past, and you may have an idea of what this is all about. And you know what's caught your eye in the past and those kind of things, that you kind of have an idea. I would encourage you, if you have an idea, we really want you to consider it, particularly if you're a user. Users tend to be a little bit reluctant to submit because they may not think they have a good idea. If you think you have a good idea, let others help you decide that. So just be sure you note these dates. They're very important, and we do appreciate your participation.
Thank you. Thank you, David. I think there may have been a little trouble with the communication there. Just to kind of reiterate some of the dates, October 20th is the deadline for a call for presentations. November 27th, that's when speakers will be accepted, presenters will be notified. And then February 28th, all presentation materials, including white papers and slide presentations, are due. So at this time, we do want to open it up for questions. So if you have a question, please type it into the question box of the control panel, and we will go ahead and review those. Okay, we do have a question, team. This person has gone through the wish list, but they do not see Oracle HCM Cloud.
I'll take that one. The HCM Cloud, as I said, the tracks we're in agreement with all three user groups. And because of our historical OAUG's historical ownership of EBS and of Hyperion, Oracle agreed that the Hyperion Cloud or the Hyperion EPM product would be pretty much an OAUG cloud product. Well, so we had to reach an agreement with Quest on which of the cloud tracks we would not share that they would get sole ownership of. And because of the historically strong HR influence of PeopleSoft, and because the Cloud HCM was pretty much based on the PeopleSoft product, the SEC, again, not the Southeastern Conference, came to the agreement that Cloud HCM would be a Quest-only track. We would have loved to shared all of them, but that was part of the agreement that we reached in conjunction with, again, collaborating with our sister user groups. We do still have EBS, HCM. So if your product is on something and you're doing a hybrid solution and talking back to EBS, then just go pick the EBS HCM track and then talk about that it's a hybrid solution. If it's pure cloud and there's no integration with EBS, then this will be one of the times when you'll need to go do Quest. But again, we encourage you, as I said earlier, to submit your ideas to get selected to, you know, multiple user groups. There are people that use everybody uses the database. There are people that use PeopleSoft HR and use EBS. So you're going to belong to multiple user groups regardless, but that's the way it is this year.
And as a follow-up question to that, Karen, does that mean Cloud HCM users cannot submit their stories?
Again, they can, if they want to submit it through OAUG, then pick the EBS HCM if it's a hybrid solution. Otherwise, if you go out to Quest, you can submit your HCM success stories, but it will be part of the Quest HCM track. Now, Quest is donate. I actually also get to see which rooms go to which applications, and Quest is expecting to get a lot of HCM papers. So you have a pretty good chance of there, but even if you submit a pure cloud HCM paper through us with our agreement with Quest, we would have to turn that paper over to them. Doesn't mean you wouldn't get selected to attend the conference. And remember, when you go to collaborate, regardless of what badge you're wearing, and you may be wearing multiple badges, you can go to any session. So the idea, obviously, by submitting a paper is to try to cut down the cost of getting there and share your wonderful ideas.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Our next question, how many will be selected and how many have been submitted in the past?
I can
saw
take
the statistics on, go ahead, Kaberi, you do that one.
Thanks, Karen. This is Kaberi. Basically, in the past, we get somewhere between 1,500 papers submitted, and through the voting process and the selection process, we get to, like, roughly speaking, 1/3 of it that we can accept and assign the rooms as needed. So if it's 1,500, we generally go, roughly speaking, 500 papers selected. This is from the last year and the year before.
Okay, thanks, Kaberi. Do you think topics on Oracle HCM Cloud has less chances of selection? I think we may have already answered that.
Karen, do you want to?
Let me add one more thing. Quest has, I don't have how many rooms right in front of me. Quest has got devoted to Cloud HCM. This is not all the cloud products. This is strictly Cloud HCM. But I believe they have about 4 rooms devoted just to that. So I think there's an extremely high chance of getting an HCM paper selected. And again, if you're talking about using Taleo, and interfacing back with Oracle, with eBusiness Suite, you can submit that as a hybrid solution in the EBS track, and we'll look at it because you're talking about the integration back with EBS.
Thank you, Karen. Our next question is Primavera at Collaborate this year? I can probably be the one to answer that. This is Janelle Daniels. I'm the GeoSig manager for OAUG, and as majority of you should know or may not know, as of October 1st, the Oracle Primavera SIG will be dissolving into an Oracle-run user community. Therefore, Primavera will not be at Collaborate, and Oracle Industry Connect will be the main Primavera event going forward.
And this was an agreement reached with discussions with Oracle.
Okay, our next question was asking, where are the tracks listed? And just, we can go back.
Back up.
Slide.
Yeah, back up the slide. One more.
Yeah, this is the last one.
And the wish list is there as well, the URL for that. Is there a wish list for HCM Cloud Track, though, in a different user group?
Quest.
Okay. Next.
You need to go look at the call for papers for Quest because they'll have their own description of the tracks and their own wish list.
Next question. I am a member of OAUG, so I can submit papers to OAUG. Do I have to join Quest or IOUG in order to submit presentations to those groups?
I can't speak to the rules that Quest and IOUG have for what governs their paper selection. To answer that, in the same way we've got presenter information and the URL for that, if you want to submit to IOUG or you want to submit to Quest, I would go out and to their website and look for the same type of information that we have here, and then that will answer it more. We're not on the board of the other two user groups, and we can't make the rules for the other two user groups.
Thank you, Karen. Next question. Does Quest also cover Taleo recruiting and onboarding?
We can cover Taleo as part of the EBS product, but Taleo has been folded into the Cloud HCM product. As Oracle, for those of you that don't follow the Oracle news, Oracle tends to buy a company, and Taleo was a purchased company, and then as they make the software fit into the same look and feel of the other software, they tend to drop the old names, and it simply becomes part of and now it's just called, I believe, talent management. If you go out and the Oracle website and look for Oracle Cloud HCM, if you see talent management in there, then yes, that would be covered. And guys, I appreciate the questions and I understand that, but again, through an agreement that we have it was a hard negotiation with Oracle, Quest, IOUG, and OAUG. For this year, this is the way the track's laid out. We had to come to an agreement. Everybody had to compromise. There is no such thing as everybody. If we could walk away with 100% of every Oracle product, we would have been more than happy to. But we are a collaborate with our sister user groups, and the tracks are, as always, a compromise.
Thank you, Karen. Next question. So when we submit papers to Collaborate, does it go to all user groups like Quest, or do we have to submit papers separately to Quest?
The papers you submit to OAUG stay within the OAUG voting machine. The coordination with the other user groups comes when, and you're certainly welcome on something like professional development to submit the same abstract to all three user groups, as I said earlier. If all three user groups select your paper, then we will sit down and again negotiate, compromise, and figure out who gets what paper. However, Quest will accept no papers on EBS. We accept no papers on PeopleSoft. OAUG accepts no papers on PeopleSoft or EBS. So you need to go look at our tracks. You need to go look at the tracks for the other two user groups. If you don't see your topic listed in the track for the other user groups, because those tracks have either shared or definitive owners, then pick the user group that owns that track.
Thank you, Karen. The next question, the wishlist URL does not return any results. I did just pull it up and it is working. So,
yep. I actually, this is Kaberi. I also looked it up and it is working.
Okay. All right, next question. The website mentioned here, does it provide access to some of the previous year's selected papers?
No, it does not. If you want to look at the previous year's selected papers and you're an OAUG member, you may go out to the conference paper database and search for 2017 Collaborate. And you can then search by topic, because if you search for just Collaborate 2017, as Kaberi said, there's about 500 of them. But all of our papers with the abstract, the description, the author, and obviously the slides are out in our conference paper database. And you are certainly welcome to go look at those and see what successful papers were selected.
Thank you, Karen. Next question. Where do we see those tracks at the presenter info link?
The presenter info / wish list. It's a PDF, I believe it's a PDF that will list the tracks, the smart tracks, and for EBS, and maybe this is my bad as the agenda chair, I didn't really give a description of EBS. I figured everybody who's an OAUG member knew what EBS. The descriptions are of the smart track. So you would pick EBS and then say ATG or EBS order management. And then when you look at the description of the smart track order management, you see a strong description of what we're looking for there. Because EBS is the sum total of over 200 products having to do with running your business.
Thank you, Karen. I'm also going to post a link for the agenda from last year so that members,
that's great. Thank
non-members, you're welcome, can take a look and review. All right, do we have any other questions at this time, or something that maybe we missed that we want to recap?
And if you think of a question later, one more slide. There you go.
All right. Well, like Karen said, if you think of any questions, go ahead and send those to Mike Jones, the education manager, and we'll be more than happy to answer those as they come in. If anyone doesn't have anything else at this time, we thank everyone for attending today's session, and we hope this was very helpful to everyone in attendance. We are also recording this session, and it will be available on the OAUG website shortly. So thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a wonderful day.